Hey, this is Matt from the Woodworking Nook. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be building furniture that I am designing to take apart. Now I'm sure this has happened to some of you where you have a big life event that changes how your home is laid out. You just need to move things around temporarily for like 6-9 months. And that has happened to us. And it drives me nuts to spend money on a piece of furniture that you will need for a very short period of time. So in our particular situation, we needed a place to store our laundry. And yes, we could buy a laundry basket that would hold all of our laundry. But again, it's not something that we want in our home. So my goal was to build laundry storage for our room that we could then reuse in another project later. The goal was to use the same plywood that I've always used for our projects and furniture that's in our bedroom. So maintaining that consistency so that everything looks like it's supposed to be there. So this is a full sheet of maple plywood that I have used for multiple projects in our bedroom, including our nightstands. So I started by breaking down all the plywood to get this ready for the laundry boxes. The cost to build this is around the same price as a laundry basket that we were looking to buy. Most likely it was slightly more, but I'm able to reuse this plywood later on down the road when we want to build something else for our bedroom. Just doing a quick test fit to make sure I have all the pieces right. I am going to be adding some edge banding to the top piece so that it looks a little bit nicer and hides that plywood edge. I only had this 1.5 inch edge banding left over from a previous project, so I just used this instead of buying additional edge banding, especially since I have so much of it left. I'm using a household iron to get that glue activated and then compressing it down with a J roller. Then use a box cutter to score off the edges. I'll come back later with a router to round over this edge. But nothing fancy, just gotta get it cut off. After that, we needed to add some pocket holes. So with this being able to be reused again, we cannot use any glue. So I'm using pocket holes so that I can quickly screw this thing together and then eventually take it apart. Make sure to also check out my Etsy store where I have some cool woodworking t-shirts available for sale. One of the benefits of being in a small shop is that it doesn't take very long to clean up the shop. Especially with this boom arm, it makes vacuuming a breeze. After the pocket holes, it was time to attach everything. I'm using these right angle clamps to help keep things square, and then also using clamps to keep things in place. I never really trust a pocket hole screw from staying in place. I feel like they always move around unless you have it clamped down. So this is a really simple box build. I'm not even putting a back on this, mainly because a laundry basket will be going in there and nothing will fall out the back. And then just adding the top on to this. And it was pretty sturdy, even without a back. So now it's time to put a round over on all the edges to make them nice and smooth. I'm just using a 1/8 inch round over. After the routing, did a light sand on all the edges. Now it's time to work on the legs. The legs are probably the most simple part of this project. Normally you can spend tons of money on legs for a piece of furniture. I am seeing if a single piece of plywood will hold up. So the goal is to make these about 6 inches long, and they'll have a slight angle to them. And I will just be screwing into them from the top. Now, if you are planning on having small children jump on these, move these around, I would not recommend this. These are not super sturdy. And again, because it's going to be a temporary piece of furniture, I'm not super concerned about it. And also just curious how long these will hold up. So cutting the angle on these legs is a little tricky if you only have a track saw. This is one of those cuts that the track saw does not do well with, but as long as you have a good jig set up to properly hold each piece when you're cutting it, it does end up going pretty smoothly. So now that I have a nice jig to insert these into, I can quickly cut each angle out. Then I added a round over using my high-tech router table to give these a nice finished look. Now these legs will be attached from the bottom, just being screwed into. Nothing fancy here. Not super sturdy either, but it's a quick and easy way to get some legs on this. The hardest part was measuring out where those screws would go, making sure I hit the leg on the other side. Let me know in the comments below if you were in this situation. Would you buy some furniture that you'll eventually toss out, or would you build yourself some temporary furniture that you could reuse again? After everything was assembled, I did a quick sand and then added some finish. This is a hard wax oil finish from Rustic Lumber, just the same finish that we've used on all of our projects in our bedroom, just to keep the consistency. There is a door that was added to the front of this. That was added at a later date, but just used some cabinet hinges to attach it to the side so that we could open and close these. They've been working pretty well and go great in our bedroom. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.